It is showtime. NRL Fantasy Team List Review, round 17. We are on. Let's get going. All right, so big team list this week. I'm going to say a lot of you guys have, 2, 3, 4 trades left. These are pivotal trades that you're making right now. So how do we maximize those for value for round 19 in particular? But then also how do we maximize that value for that final roster you're going to have? It's going to carry you through to round 27. They're the questions that I'm trying to answer today. I've got 5 trades left myself. I reckon that's about average, maybe slightly above average. I would say the average team has about 4 trades left. Some have 0. Some have maybe 8 or so. But let's get right into it here with these team lists. So first up, Doggies v. the Sharks. Dogs v. Sharks on the dog side of the ball. We've got Riley. Oh, before we get into this, Riley, mate, 1 trade left. Jahu with 3. It's not too bad. Skelton, if you've heard me and Jahu talking about Skelton before, I think he's a beast. Can he keep the spot right? So if he keeps the spot, he's a must-have, but I don't know if he will keep that spot. We'll get into the Dogs team here now, actually. Let's jump right into it. So for the Dogs, you got the back line here, Blake Taff. We've got Wilson, Zeri, Karaz, Skelton in the back line, then Burton and Sexton in the halves. It's a pretty good back line for them. Obviously, no Connor Tracy in this one, no Crichton, and no Josh Addo-Carr. So look at that. And yeah, like you mentioned, Jahu too. Stephen Crichton, jersey number 23. He could potentially sneak in to the side as well. So yeah, for these guys, I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, all right, Skelton, can he hold that spot? Probably not. But who would sort of have to lose their spot for Skelton to hold the spot, right? Because Addo-Carr and Wilson are probably the 2. Skelton has been behind Wilson all year. Crichton possibly plays this game. He probably comes in for, actually, it could be Skelton even. Crichton go into center and Karaz go back to the wing as well. Other option there is Zeri, but I reckon Zeri's probably ahead of Skelton as well. So I think we have to give Skelton a miss at this stage. For the rest of the team here in the back line, I'm not too sort of hyped about any of these guys. The Dogs, they're at a point where they don't have an amazing buy schedule to finish off, so I'm probably not targeting too many Dogs players. In the forward pack, King, Marnie, Hughes, Kickout, Salmon, and Hayward. I'm not actually against making some trades here. So Reed Marnie, I'm a bit worried about Turpin on the bench there, but I think Reed Marnie's a guy you want to hold for now. But I'm looking at Max King in particular. So if you have Max King, and obviously if you have Jamin Salmon as well, these are the guys where I'd probably be looking to try and sell some of these players. So with Max King, if you can go and get Nicho Hynes and you have the depth in the middle spot already, I don't mind selling Max King and using that cash to make that big upgrade, right? So I think there are cases where you could definitely be selling Max King. Salmon is a pretty firm sell for me. Obviously, Preston is... Where is Preston? Here we go. Jersey number 19 as well. I wouldn't be surprised if Preston came into this game. If not, it'll be next week. So if Preston comes in, that sort of eats up a lot of the 7 minutes too. I reckon it's probably a foregone conclusion. He's pretty done. Just on from Jacob here, Longy, should I buy Willison and Carrigan? I don't play this round. Need a mid for this round as well. Need a mid. Let's have a look at that later. So we'll look at that in buy, hold, sell as well. I'll go through. We'll talk about some of the options to go through these team lists too. But there's definitely going to be a few options there at different price points. Jai raised a good point here. Surely Turpin makes way for Preston in reserves. Potentially, that could be the case as well. Salmon does offer that backline cover too, so that could easily happen. We'll know before the game, first game of the round, so that's easy. Max King to Murray in round 20. I don't mind that at all. South Sydney, they have the bye this week? I don't believe they have a bye soon. I think it's around 25 or 26 they have a bye. So it's the grand final week for head-to-head, so just keep that in mind if you're a head-to-head coach. Do I like Blore to Hynes in one trade? Coming third, damn, you're doing well, man. I reckon it's always a good move to get on Nicho Hynes. I think Blore will bounce back when Munster comes back. I think he could be close to a 50 average for the remainder of the year. But for Nicho, yeah, I think if you can get Nicho in one trade, that's always a good move to do. So I like that a lot. And then we'll go into some more questions. Actually, I'll throw this last one here. Is Curran a sell? Curran's a bit dodgy. He's on that bench there. The minutes are a little dicey. Preston coming back as well. I don't mind the idea of selling Curran. If you have Curran and you can make a good move for him, yeah, sell him. And then, yeah, Jake, you're on the edge, bro. One trade left, 17 green ticks. Hopefully, there are no late changes for you, mate. So yeah, for the Dogs, I wouldn't be targeting too many of these guys. Is basically my answer here. I'm very open to selling basically any Dogs player at this point, but there are a few that I reckon it probably holds, like Reed Marnie. For the Sharks, let's have a look at this. So Will Kennedy, Sione Katoa, we got Ramian, Iro, Mulatalo, and then Trindle and Hines in the halves. Obviously, worth noting that Trindle is a negative impact on Hines' scores. So Hines is still a stud, and he's a bit cheaper as well. But at the same time, he does score a little lower with Trindle. I think it's like a 75 average instead of an 80 average or something like that. Oh, wait, no. It might be a 70 average instead of 75. It's something like that. So just keep that in mind. But overall, I think Hines is a really good option. And that's cool to see, man, Duan. Watching from Fiji. Love it. I wish I was in Fiji right now. It's so cold in Australia. Let us know where you're from in Fiji. I do a bit of scuba diving as well. So I definitely need to go into that. Longy, are you trying to talk yourself into comfort since you sold Hines? I'm actually looking at buying Hines this week. So for my team, I'm considering a few options here. I'm going to downgrade, potentially downgrade Atkinson, and then upgrade someone like a Jack DeBellin or maybe a Pat Carrigan or one of these guys to Nico Hines. That's sort of what I'm looking at right now. Who am I looking at bringing into from the waivers in fantasy? It's a tough one, Jock. There's so many Jock and Jack Wallaces out here. Do I have the Jock Cup? No, I don't today. I'm not going to tell you. You'll find out tomorrow. But his name might end with Skelton. That's all I'll say. Hines break even 113 again, absolutely. And the Dogs is not a great matchup too. So just keep that in mind for getting Nico Hines, but I still think he's a bit of a beast and he's a good option to captain this week. So up to you what you want to do. Depends if you're happy with your captains. No Dave Fafita this week. So I think the captain roulette could be something you could dodge if you bought Nico Hines, but that's open. Josh, what's my rank? About 330th, I think 340th, something like that. So I'm primed though. I'm primed, ready to go. 5 trades in the bank. Got a good team for round 19. You watch the rise. It's coming. All right, let's jump into the rest of the Sharks team here, though. So Iro, I think, is a keeper level sort of guy for the rest of the year. He's just rock solid in fantasy. Like he just gets the base stats. So I'm not worried about him. I'm not super interested in the rest of this back line. Yeah, there's not too much pulling me across here. The Sharks do play round 19 though, so keep that in mind. If you do have a Sharky, they'll be available for round 19. For that reason, I would be holding them. And Lockie, you just asked this question too. Yeah, I'd be holding McInnes right now. I'm not super stoked on McInnes, but because he plays round 19, he's a number in round 19, so you just got to keep him 100%. Is he keeper for a whole year? Probably not for the whole year. That's what I will say. Probably not for the whole season. Teague Wilton in reserve. Yeah, exactly. He could easily come in to the side or steal minutes. So if you got Talakai, it's not looking great. Not looking great at all. Teague Wilton, how much is he? I think he's pretty cheap for what he was before. So yeah, 615K. There we go. So pretty good price point there. So yeah, for the rest of this forward pack here, let's jump into it. So Rudolph, Brayley, Kafusi, we got Nakora, Talakai, and McInnes. And the guy who's interesting here is actually Nakora. So Nakora, at the price point he's at 500 and I want to say 590K, maybe 600K, something like that. For him, that's a pretty good price point. So if I look at Nakora, and if you need a back rower, especially for around 19, Nakora's a good shout. I got no problems with that at all. The fact that Nico Hines is back too, he feeds him some good ball. It means more attacking plays. Nakora is one of those guys who he scores sort of 35 without attacking plays, and then he boosts that score up with big attacking moments. So that's what you're counting on with him. If you're picking him this week, you're picking him to play well against the Dogs. Probably an easier buy next week, but still a good shout. The rest of this pack, I'm not super keen on any of these guys. Fair question here, Nakora or Eli Katoa. I would go Nakora right now just because the price difference is one thing. Hines back is good news as well. And the round 19 play. So he plays round 19, Eli Katoa doesn't. If they were the same price, I think Eli Katoa is the slightly better player for fantasy, but it's not a big gap. And with the price and the buys into account, yeah, you got to make that move. Right, so rest of the team here, yeah, nothing too crazy. Extended bench has nothing crazy. Dan Atkinson, I held on here just because I wanted to keep myself flexible. I had the players for round 16 anyway, so I'm going to sell him this week. Probably a bit of a cash out option, but I think he's pretty much done. Next up here, we got the Warriors and the Broncos. So the Wild and the Broncos. Warriors have been a bit of a disaster lately. Yeah, it's not been good. Sean Johnson's out for about 4 weeks now as well. So you've got that Achilles issue that's holding him out. It's 4 weeks minimum, which kind of means that Tamari Martin becomes vaguely interesting. So if you need a half and you've got a bunch of cash in the bank that you want to use, well, not a bunch of cash, but a bit of cash for a mid-ranger, TMM, he's sort of like a 40-point base, and then he adds attacking stats. So I don't hate the idea of getting him. I would predict maybe with this configuration, Chanel Harris-Tavita doesn't take too much work off him. Probably a 45 to 50 average is what I'm going to call it. So like maybe let's say a 47. Tamari Martin, I don't mind that at all. As you mentioned, Jahu, they do miss round 19. So that's the risk with Tamari Martin. If you get on him, you're not really getting the buy round benefit, which is the tough part. But overall, I think it could be about 100K undervalued. So not a bad shout. Longy, how many trades do you have left? I have 5 trades left, so I'm probably going to use 2 or 3 this week. But yeah, 5 trades left. You got like 11 players in round. Yeah, I think it's 11 players in round 19 as it stands, maybe 10. So I'll need to use a few trades there. Hopefully, big game for AFB. Just got him last week. Yeah, he needs to get those minutes and get some of those attacking stats going. I think they're going to run it through AFB, and it's good news that Carrigan and Haas might get rested for this game as well. CNK, a sell. I think CNK is fine. I don't think you necessarily need to be selling CNK right now. I think he's solid enough. If you want to do it, you can go do it. The Warriors are sort of a bit of a sinking ship right now, but his work rate's great, and this matchup, if it lines up as is listed for 1-17, should be a good matchup for him. Tohu a pickup. I would be skipping Tohu 100%. And Josh Muddle will go into my team towards the end. But yeah, for Tohu, I'd skip him right now. I think the injury niggles, he can get rested any time. It's a bit dicey, so I probably wouldn't be going Tohu myself. Egan, dirt cheap, 469K. Egan, if he gets 80 minutes and plays that role and doesn't get hurt, he's unstoppable. So I don't mind that price at all. It's just a bit of injury risk there with him that you got to keep an eye on. Jezewski, to stick in emergency, pocket some of the cash, start next few weeks, and then off the bench after that. Yeah, you could do that. You could do that. I'd have to check how long Ricky's out for. So with Ricky, how long is Ricky out for actually? What's the news on him? It's Tristan Saylor, fullback. Jordan Ricky suspension, season join. How long's Ricky suspended for? I'll wait for an answer there. But if Ricky is out for round 19, then this is a good move. If Ricky is back before round 19, then I wouldn't do it. Is my answer there? 2 games. Yeah, not long enough. Not long enough. Ricky be back for round 19, so you don't want to. It's a waste of trades. I wouldn't do it. Barnett, great pod. Yeah, he's a bit of a beast right now. I thought SJ should have always been a sell when Webster announced the halves would be sharing the ball a lot more. It's just the injury. That's the big thing, right? So SJ doesn't really share the ball when he's fully fit. That's not how it works normally. But he's gone. Is Twile a sell? We'll get into Twile when we get to the Tigers. All right, cool. So for the Broncos then, worth noting that a few of these guys are here in the extended. So you got Reece Walsh, Payne Haas, Paddy Carrigan, Corey Oates as well. They could easily come in. My feel on it is that they'll probably give some of these guys a bit of a rest, I'd say. If they're going to name all those guys like that, I've been hearing whispers too that they would give a lot of the forwards a rest. The Broncos aren't in major risk of missing the finals either, so I think they should be okay to do that, and they've got some good backups in place too. Yeah, and good shout, Jahu, too. They're flying to New Zealand as well, so it's going to be a tricky one. So for the Broncos here, is there anyone I'd be eyeing off right now? Saylor, Arthurs, Staggs, Cobbo, Mariner, Madden, not really. Then Jensen, Walters, Willison, Piakura, Jezewski, and Hetherington. If you want to have a look at guys for draft leagues, that could be an option. If I was looking at a draft league, I wouldn't mind Xavier Wilson in this game if it lines up as is listed. Other than that, I'm not super hyped on much of this. I mean, Jock Madden, if he's available, he's a pretty solid scorer. But in terms of overall, you could make that case for buying Wilson full time, but it's just a bit tricky. It's a bit tricky to buy any of these guys because they're all a bit too expensive. They've all gotten a lot of time in the lead up. So overall, I think they're a bit too expensive to jump onto. All right, next game here. Knights and the Eels. My Parramatta Eels currently in the wooden spoon spot. Just lay it on now. Lay it on now. Actually, I'm gonna put it out there. Put your prediction in. Will the Eels win the spoon? Yes or no? Drop it into the comments. And anyone who says yes is banned. No, no, you can stay. You can stay, but you're on thin ice. That's all I'm gonna say. While I'm waiting for that, let's get into the Knights here. So Fletcher Sharp, we got Tuala, Gagai, Best, Marzu, then Price and Hastings in the halves. Yeah, Pole wouldn't be bad. I don't mind that. But yeah, so for this backline here, Sharp is in the team until Ponga is back. So what I'm looking at here is that Ponga's back round 20 to 22, right? So for Sharp, you've got another 3-week window. With him, he'll make some cash. He'll play round 19. Not the worst thing. He's in the low 300s, so it's a decent price point. But overall, I think it's a bit tricky to make that case. So, I mean, I don't mind the idea of getting Sharp for this next 3 weeks. Parramatta also is a matchup that he theoretically could exploit a lot too. But just keep in mind, it is only 3-week rental, and you'll probably have to use another trade to cash him out. So if you have trades to use, don't mind it. If you don't have the trades, then you probably can't do it. Brad Best is back. Gagai's a solid guy too to keep. Knights play round 18, which is solid too. Trent, I'll just answer this one too. Price tempting. Could he get goal kicking? He could. He could. I honestly am not sure where they're going to go with that. I'll need to look into that. But yeah, for Price, I think he could be a good option. He's 400k, which is really tricky. So if I was looking at Price myself, I'd probably be thinking, give it a week, watch how he plays. 400k, the break even isn't going to be crazy. If you're in a draft league, he could be. So for you, Jock Wallace, he could be a guy that you target in your draft leagues. But overall, I think Price probably be cautious, hold it a week. 400k is a bit expensive for mine. Will Price has been terrible defensively in reserves. 84% tackle efficiency. Yep, fair comment. It's good to note. Then let's keep looking here. Sharp or Gutho for round 19. I think Sharp just at the price point. I think Gutho has that knee issue, and the Eels have some pretty tough fixtures too. Trade out Brayley or Egan first. I would keep Egan if I was you. Egan's so cheap, man. You got to keep Egan. Brayley on the bench here. It's trash. It's trash. I really thought he might bounce back into the starting side. I was completely off on that one. So, yeah, it's garbage. You got to sell Brayley now. Brayley's cooked. It's over. You could make sure your trade is flexible in case there's a last minute change, but I still don't think it changes much. Longy, Josh Schuster should just follow the footsteps of the great Tommy Talau and really lose weight. It's tough though. He likes, I'm a man who loves the KFC too, so it's not that easy. It's not that easy. Crosslands, 2 weeks in a row, misses a lot of tackles, especially early in the nights. Will not start fairly. Yeah, it seems strategic. It's been pretty consistent as well. Yeah, poll up in Discord. That's good to know. So yeah, there's a polls section in Discord where you can pop those votes. I might get my vote up in a bit later. The Eels will not in the spoon. There's a link to Discord too. Also a link in the description as well. All right, so for the Knights here, worth noting Kai Pearce-Paul is on the bench. For KPP, it's tough because Frizzell, Lucas, KPP, they're all starting caliber edge back rowers. So you've got a situation where one of them is going to get screwed over every week. The fact that Frizzell was playing prop a bit was a bit of a saving grace for a while, but at this stage, KPP is the one who suffers. If you've held KPP this long, you could make the case that you want to hold him for round 19, but it's risky and it's probably not that viable. He'll probably only play half a game this week. I'd probably be looking to sell him if I was you, unless you're really low on trades. If you're really low on trades, then he could be a guy that bounces back next week. So up to you, depending on the trade count you have and what you've got. I'm seeing a few I believe in KPPs in the chat too, so could be an option to hold as well. For the rest of the team here, yeah, nothing too crazy to talk about in the rest. Like Brayley is a sell, as we mentioned. For the Eels, Gutho, Sevo, Penasini, Russell, Talangi, and then Brown and Moses. Is there anything fantasy relevant here? I don't hate Penasini if you want a center, but I don't think many people need a center. We're all pretty good with centers. A lot of us have, Ewan Aitken, Herbie Farmworth. We've all got Iro. We're all pretty covered in that position. You might have held, Garrick. You might have Manu. All these sorts of guys. So For Penasini, I think he's value, but only if you need a center. Don't force it. Brown and Moses. Moses plays Origins, so it's not ideal in terms of buying him for fantasy. Brown, if you've held him this long, hold on to him 100%. They play round 19. For the rest, for the forward pack here, so RCG, Hands, Paulo. Then we've got Sean Lane going back to the back row, Bryce Cartwright, Joe Offahengawi. Talk that Hopgood is gone for quite a while, so he's seeing a specialist about that lower back injury. That'll mean that there's some minutes up for grab in this Parramatta side. They're sitting on the spoon right now, so it'll be interesting to see if they just use this year to blood talents like Matt Arthur, for example, or if they are really trying to win games. One thing to note here is that Matt Arthur is a hooker. So if you watch the under-19 State of Origin, he was the guy who scored a try off. It was a pretty crazy play, actually. So ran it in pretty close to under the post. But Matt Arthur seems to be the future at Parramatta. He's that future hooker. He's, as far as I've heard and seen, he's pretty dynamic, pretty crafty at hooker. Related to Brad Arthur as well, which is funny that he's gotten a run now that Brad's gone. But yeah, I think he'll take some minutes. I think it'll be a pretty light load of minutes to start. My feel on this, it's probably going to be sort of a 60-20 split, maybe 65-15, where Brendan Hands will play that 60-65 minutes, and Arthur will come on for the last 15 minutes or maybe before halftime or something like that. So, yeah, if you have Brendan Hands, you have to hold him because he plays round 19, but it's not ideal for you. For the rest of the pack here, would I buy Cartwright, Lane, Offahengawi, Madison? It's tough. It's tough to say. It's a really tough forward pack to predict. That was you. Okay. I was wondering who that was. Good to see you, man. You have a nice car. It's a great car. I did see that. Let's keep going. So Madison could shift to starting lock prior to game time. Yeah. So for Maddo, he could easily come into that lock spot. He might come off the bench and play big minutes as well. There could be anything in this Parramatta side. Offahengawi could move to prop, Paulo to bench, Madison to lock. It could be anything, right? So if you like Madison, he's probably more of a draft option rather than a classic fantasy option. But if you keep your trades open and you make a trade to him at the last minute, if you get the starting spot, I don't hate that at all. Let's look at some of these other ones here. I need to sell. So pick out of Iro, Egan, Mazu, or Garrick. Well, Iro definitely not. He's a stud. I really like the way he scores points. Garrick is a borderline keeper, plays around 19 as well. So probably try to hold him. Egan's at a really good price. I like Mazu's fixtures too, and he plays around 19. I'd rethink it and try not to sell any of these guys is sort of my answer, which is really unhelpful. But I try to hold all these guys. If I had to sell one, probably going to be Mazu could really destroy Parramatta. That's the problem. And I think he will. So I was sort of leaning Mazu, but I like Mazu's fixtures. You could do Garrick for the immediate out, but then he's back for round 19. I'd probably look for some other trades as my answer there. All right, let's keep looking at this parasite. So how long is Hopgood out for? Hopgood's gone for a pretty long period of time. He's seeing a back specialist. He's out for potentially the year, but we don't have exact confirmation. But if I had Hopgood, I'd be selling him right now. It's finished basically. It seems, but he might come back at some point. Who knows? It's just there's no point rushing him back either if you're Parramatta because you've got him locked up and the spoon is begging us up. Mazu matched up against defensive beast Blaze. Yeah, it's a bit of a size mismatch. Look, I reckon they both score 2 tries each. That's sort of the vibe of that matchup there. Do I continue to burn and hold Twal? What would his minutes look like when returning? We'll go to the Tigers soon, but I think you probably sell Twal at this stage. Who takes his minutes? That's why we're talking about Madison. Could be the guy to take the minutes. He could easily slip back into that sort of Hopgood role. Even if he's playing off the bench, he could play like 60-odd minutes off the bench as long as he stays fit. Dury will steal some of those minutes as well, but I think Madison will be the beneficiary, is my guess. Would I buy him right now? Probably not, but that's my prediction. For the rest of Parramatta, yeah, look, I wouldn't do anything with this. The extended bench is pretty dry as well. Let's go into the Storm and the Raiders next. So, Storm Raiders, always a good game. A bit of a different Raiders side to the one that has stomped on the Storm in the past. They're always a bit of a bogey team for Melbourne. But Yeah, for this Storm backline, there's some interest here. So Pappenhausen, Warbrick, Anderson, Howarth, Coates, Wishart, and Hughes. Now, it is very, very, very late to be buying a lot of these Storm players. They just played round 16. They won't play round 19. Like, would I get Wishart? No, it's too late. Munster's back soon. Would I get Hughes? No, it's too late. He's expensive now, and Munster's back soon. Would I hold Sewer? This is a good shout there, Morgan. Would I hold Sewer and Ray as well? Probably not. He could come into the team at the last minute. So he's in jersey 22 there. I think there's a decent chance that him or maybe Kane Bradley or Aramia, Remus Smith, they've got a bunch of guys who could just sneak back into the team. That's the problem, right? But I wouldn't be holding Sewer for very longer. I think last week was the week to hold him. This week it's done. Captaining Hughes is a good shout. Yeah, fader flip. That's a good shout. Captaining Hughes, I would advise that. That's a good move. He should be good in this Saint game. So there's plenty of points on offer against this Raiders side who let Galvin score 1 billion against them. So yeah, Jerome Hughes, captain, good move. I like that. But overall, I think Jack Howarth is a guy to note here. So Howarth, if you needed a cash out, it's really risky. It's really risky, right? So I'm going to lay it out for you, right? And we all make our own calls on this channel. But I just like to lay out the info. So Jack Howarth is in jersey number 4. I'm going to think about this all week, basically. But he's basically at base price as well. So you got jersey number 4, Howarth. I think Howarth is better than Grant Anderson as a center. So I think that he's got one layer of protection there. It's only one layer. It's not great. Coates and Warbrick are the wingers. There's sort of no discussion up there. Like you guys said, yeah, Meany out with a calf injury, and you've got Remus Smith as well, who's been out for a bit too, who's named in reserves. So we'll see if there's anything extra here. Nick, yeah, so from wing to center, replace Nick Meany. Garlic to the bench. Center Remus Smith has been named 18-man. Yeah, coming back from concussion. It's very unlikely that Howarth keeps the spot, right? It's probably going to be Meany and it's going to be Remus Smith pretty soon. He doesn't play round 19. But at the same time, if you just wanted a pure cash out, there are worse options. So the upside of this play is that I think he's a bit of a freak. I think he's a really good player, Jack Howarth. I think he's big, he's explosive, he's athletic, and he's a guy who, on the back of this Melbourne Storm backline, with Pappenhausen back as well, could be a massive beneficiary, especially when Munster comes back too, and they're fully firing. So the upside of Howarth is that you get that center and back row dual position after round. I think it's round 21. They do it next. But you get that dual position there. You get that center cover. He's a guy who could be very explosive in that spot and be maybe a 40 average. But the downside is that he could just disappear next week. So the fact that he's base price means if you need a base price cash out, I think this one has upside, has a lot of risk too. Do with that what you will. For the rest of the team here, Kamika, Grant, King, Blore, Katoa, Loyero. Then we got Welch, Garlic, Sofa Solomona, and Shan on the bench. For the forward pack here, Harry Grant's at a nice price. I saw a few of you guys asked about Harry Grant earlier. Should Harry Grant be a guy we target right now? Should we buy Harry Grant right now? I don't hate that completely. I want Harry Grant at some point soon-ish. Would I do it now? Garlic will steal minutes. That's the thing. So Garlic's there. He's almost exclusively there as a Harry Grant backup. It depends on Harry Grant, how Grant goes in Origin, how many minutes he plays, all that sort of thing. I'm probably not going to target Grant right now, is my answer there. But I do like the idea of getting him around round 20 or round 21. So, yeah, I'm a big Grant fan. I probably wouldn't do it right now, but if you want to do it, go ahead. This is a pretty good matchup. He could score well here. For the rest, a few guys asking about Blore and Guitar. I'll talk about them as well. So for Blore, I like Blore. I really like Blore as a fantasy prospect. The thing about Blore is he's been scoring a bit below par without Munster, but you get Munster back. He's a guy who runs lines, he offloads, all that sort of thing. He could easily elevate back up to a 45 to 50 average, maybe even low 50s. So I like Blore. He played 80 minutes last week too. Good shout there as well. Josh, but yeah, I think Blore could be a guy who is a really strong keeper or edge of bench keeper towards the end of the season. So I actually quite like the idea of holding Blore, but at the same time, he doesn't have a lot of buy round benefits. So if you do want to sell him, you can do that. He won't be that good over the next 2 weeks anyway, because no Munster. But I think when Munster comes back, he really heats up. So I like the idea of holding him. At this stage, I'm planning to hold Bloor for the rest of the year. Is my play. For Eli Katoa, Katoa's been very try reliant recently, so he had a pretty good score over the bye round. I wouldn't be targeting buying him right now. If I had him, I'd keep him. So I do have him, and I'm keeping him, obviously. But I wouldn't be targeting him as a buy option right now. There are actually some back rowers that I'd be targeting instead. As we go through, I'll talk through some of those guys too. For the rest of the Storm team here, yeah, nothing too crazy to talk about. So let's go over to the Raiders, and then I'll answer some questions after we go Raiders. So for the Raiders, for me, Rapana, Hopewadi, Tomoko, Chris, Savage. We've got Strange and Weeks in the halves. I was really hyped on Rapana. I thought they'd play a bit better than that, Canberra. I knew it'd be a high-scoring game, but they just got destroyed by the Tigers, hey? Yeah, Rapana scored like 40 points or whatever it was. Look, in a game where they got pumped, you know, you throw in a few tries or something like that. Yeah, I'm not feeling too bad about that prediction. He was pretty cheap. We'll see how it goes. It's going to hurt me in my captain competition with Biz though, because Biz took Terrell May and I took Rapana as captains, so I lost like 40 points there. But hey, we'll make it up this week. Actually, who would you captain, guys? By the way, we do a thing on buy, hold, sell. So being Biz, we each pick a player below 700k as our captain option for that week. Who would you take? So if you were picking a player below 700k as your captain, and you want some upside there, right? Who would you pick in that spot? I'll wait for those as well. But yeah, for this backline here, nothing too crazy to talk about. Tomoko's at a pretty good price. Strange Weeks, you hold on to Weeks. For Strange, you can sell Strange now. I think it's okay to do. If you want to hold him, you can hold him as well. But I'm happy to sell him. Tomoko is getting pretty cheap, but he's just not getting the ball. I think the last time he scored a try was round 3 or something as well. So for Tomoko, it's not that hot. I'll cover some of these captains as well. So sub 700k captains. We've got Skelton in there. And we're actually going to make this a game next year, by the way. So I'm going to set up, it'll be related to fantasy, but I'll set up like a form or something, right? Where we can all submit, you know, who would our captain be under 700k? And there can be some sort of prize, more of a leaderboard and, you know, all that. And we can do a comp as well where we do who will score the lowest of starting players. And then whoever can pick the lowest scoring starting players, they add up each week and, you know, something like that as well. So I'm thinking about a few games like that for next year. It'd be pretty fun. But yeah, Gagai's a good shout. Only Skelton. Tarpanay, not bad. I like that. Terrell May is a stud, but I think he's over 700k now. So that's a hard one. Tommy Talau on the buy. He's just that transcendent. Plath is a good shout as well. Sammy Finu, yeah, he's been on fire. He could have had 80 points last week if a few of those try assists went to hand. So he's a beast. Tungo, when Cleary's back, we're buying Tungo when Cleary's back, 100%. You can buy Tungo now if you wanted, but he's only going to be good when Cleary comes back. Tohu, Moses for 90 plus. I think he's a bit. Actually, no, he's under 700k now. So yeah, good shout. Penasini, Mad Dog move. Keeney, yeah, he's still under 700k for now. Plath, Tohu, yeah, there's a bunch more. All right, cool. Yeah, Tarpanay, 738k, good point. Watson at lock, too expensive. That's stuff on there. So for the Raiders forward pack here, Papali'i, Starling, Tarpanay, Young, Whitehead, Smithies. There was talk that Horsburgh might come back in. He hasn't. He's not on the bench, and he's not on the extended bench. So that's not happening. For the rest of this team, hold or sell. Tarpanay is a hold. I wouldn't go and buy him. I'm not that interested, but yeah. No. And then who else? Hudson Young was interesting last week. I wouldn't go buy him this week. Morgan Smithies. I think you can sell him now. I think he's good to sell. So either sell him this week or you'll sell him round 20. It's sort of up to your team. Rest of the team, if you've got Danny Levi still for some reason, then he's obviously a sell as well. But yeah, overall, nothing really to talk about here with this Raiders team. Yeah, don't play round 19. Exactly. All right, so I don't know why, by the way. Horsburgh being in reserve grade makes no sense. He's such a beast, but maybe, don't know. Yeah, Kotrick dropped as a good shout as well. He's out of the team. I don't know if he might have had a niggling injury, but yeah. Dragons and the Dolphins next. And this should be a good one. Bit of a shootout day game as well, 2 p.m. We love a 2 p.m. game. So for the Dragons, we've got Tyrell Sloan, Zach Lomax, Moses Sully, And we got Max Fenai, Matt Fenai, Flanagan, and Hunt in the halves. There is nothing to talk about in this backline. So nothing to do there. For the forward pack, we got Molo, Little, DeBellin, Fatal Mariner, Sewer, Eisenhuth, and then Laurie, Murdoch, Masilla, Couchman, and Leilua on the bench. Okay, so Luciano Leilua being on the bench is pretty crazy. They change the team around all the time. Maybe Luciano comes back into the starting side. Don't know. That's only really impactful for draft teams. So I've got him in draft, for example, where this is actually super annoying to see. I didn't realize this before. But he could come in for Fatal Mariner. Jack DeBellin's a prop there too. DeBellin's minutes have been really fading. Is DeBellin a hold or a sell? Here we go. JDB. What to do with JDB? JDB, hold or sell? It's not a great bench. It's not a great bench for Jack DeBellin. So I would normally argue for holding the guy who's playing round 19. But this bench is disastrous, right? So Fatal Mariner and Luciano should theoretically share minutes. Eisenhuth will play big minutes. Laurie and Molo will probably share minutes. And you got Murdoch, Masilla, and Couchman both vying for minutes off, let's call it Eisenhuth and DeBellin. It could easily be a 40-minute game for DeBellin. 76-point break even, good shout as well. I'm probably leaning towards selling Jack DeBellin. He's just been a disaster. I think he might be leaving the club at the end of the year as well. Before the Origin period, he hadn't scored below 40 all year, but he's gone with some terrible scores recently. So, yeah, I'm probably leaning towards selling Jack DeBellin. I think that's a good move. If you have like no trades left, then you might as well hold him. But if you have trades, I'd be selling Jack DeBellin. Yeah. Eisenhuth, if you have him, I'd be holding on to him. It's a good shout. And then I wouldn't really be targeting too many of these guys in trades. Yeah, who do you even go for, right? Little is a bit expensive for what he is. Yeah, I'm not really targeting too many of these players. For the Dolphins, so we got Hammer, Sarko, Avarillo, Farmworth, Tessie New, and then we got Nick Reamer and Katoa in the team. Is there anything here? So Bostock is out, obviously picked up that injury last week. Yeah, Sarko been a bit below par. Yeah, he's a guy who averaged 50 last year. He's not been quite at that level this year. Not been getting the same amount of ball. Doesn't seem as integrated into the attack. I'll just answer this quickly too for you, Boston. For JDB, why are his minutes down? He's leaving the club at the end of the year. They've got a lot more players back from injury, and there are just a lot more players playing good footy. So Eisenhuth has earned that spot more than Jack DeBellin has, it seems like. And with him leaving at the end of the year, they're happy to go. So for the rest of this team here for the Dolphins, what are we looking at? Herbie Farmworth is a guy you hold on to at this stage. If you have Fuller, you could sell Fuller, you could hold Fuller. So if you have enough players this week, I would hold Fuller for round 19. If you don't have enough players this week, then he's a guy to sell. But if you can get benefit from him, sell him as well. He's at a pretty good price point. So I'm open to selling Fuller, but you don't have to rush it because he's good for round 19. Good shout here too. Finn's next buy is in 18. So, it's probably not going to affect you too much. You should be okay in round 18, but just worth keeping that in mind as well. Herbie next to Tessie is worrying. No, I don't think that's going to be too bad of a deal. Lemuelu, is it here by? No, I don't think so. It's not at that keeper level. So for the Dolphins here, Herbie's that guy. For the rest of the back line, I'm not really touching it. Forward pack, you got Bromwich, JMK, Bromwich again, Lemuelu, Aitken, and Plath. I think it's a bit late on a lot of these guys now. Would I buy a Sarko? That's coming through a bit. Would I buy a Sarko? Probably not with the way they're attacking this year. Yeah, probably not. I don't think so. Herbie bounces back this week. Bostock cooked Herbie on his last week. Yeah, he was on the wing for a bit, and then Aitken went to the wing, and Aitken scored the try there. And there's a bit of a mix mash, but it wasn't great for Herbie. It's still mid-30s is okay, but yeah, he'll bounce back. He'll be fine. Thoughts on TPG on the bench? TPG on the bench. Push Kerr out. I don't think so. The price he's at, 500k, I wouldn't be touching him. Asako pricey at 549k. Yeah, it's a bit of a discount, but it's too late in the year to be buying guys like Asako, personally, I think. But if you think he's going to go on a run, you look at the fixtures for the Dolphins, then go ahead. Have a crack. So yeah, for the forward pack, Aitken is still Aitken, but it's probably getting a bit late to buy him now. You could still do it. Plath is going along nicely, but again, would I go and buy him? The bench is not super friendly for middle forwards. So Felice Kafusi's going to steal minutes. He might go to the edge a bit. Nichols, Stone, and TPJ are all middle forwards as well. So I wouldn't be buying Plath now. But if I had Plath, which I do, and a lot of you guys do as well, then I'd hold on to him 100%. All right, next game here. Panthers and the Cowboys. I might be going to this game, actually. Just down in Penrith. Rooting for the Cowboys, of course, because, gotta hate. But for the Panthers here, Dylan Edwards, Sunia Taruva, Tungo, Alamoti, To'o, Cole, Luai. Nothing's changed. Nothing's changing. Tungo is cheap, but Tungo is trash until Cleary comes back for fantasy, by the way. Fantasy. When Cleary comes back, Tungo will pop off. If you want to buy Tungo, go and buy Tungo. If you don't, that's fine. But yeah, I'd be eyeing off Tungo for around 20 is sort of my plan there. Captain Tungo is crazy. That's insane. Trade out Cola for Tungo. No, I wouldn't do that. Cola plays round 19. Tungo doesn't. So I'm trying to keep Cola for round 19. See what happens. He's not been scoring well, but we'll give it a crack. And then Sorensen without a try is looking at mid-30s. So Sorensen averaged 52 last year in the back row. He's not been super great this year. So I'm going to give it a bit more time. I think when they get back to full strength, he'll bounce up to being a pretty solid contributor. But he doesn't play round 19. So if you want to sell him, you can. I'm going to be holding him myself. So yeah, for the Panthers side backline, Tungo's the guy I'm eyeing off around 20. I wouldn't really be buying too many of these other guys right now. Luai is really expensive. Got on him when I said to, and with Jay-Z that week, then that would have been great, but it's too late now. Leota, Kenny, Fisher-Harris, Sorensen, Martin, and Yo are in the forward pack. Get Yo if you want. Overall, I'm not targeting too many of these guys here. Dane Laurie, Lindsay Smith, Liam Henry, Matt Eisenhuth. Yeah, again, not really targeting them either. It's sort of a bit more of a hold situation. These guys don't play round 19, so we'll target round 19 teams at most of our buys. Who are the good buys right now? I don't mind Sharp. It's only a 3-week window guaranteed that he'll play, but he'll make some cash. He'll cover round 19. He's a good option. I really like targeting Nico Hines this week as well. Dogs isn't a great matchup, and the break-even is high, but Nico Hines is Nico Hines. And when you can get him and captain him, that's a big advantage over your competition as well. They're the main two guys I'd be targeting. We'll have a look at a few more when we get to those teams that play round 19 as well. Is Tungo Bio and Cleary's back? Exactly right. Exactly right. Is Yogurt captain backing up from Origin? Probably not. I try not to do that, and that's exactly why I think Cleary's actually not Cleary. Hines is actually a pretty decent buy. Is Cleary on the extended bench? Schneider's back here. No Cleary. Okay. I thought there might be some shenanigans. For the Cowboys, let's get into them next. Drinkwater, Felt, Purdue, Vilea, Burns, Clifford, and Townsend. Probably more draft league implications. Probably not too much you're going to be doing here. If you have Drinkwater, hold on to him. I think that's a pretty easy one to do. For the rest of the team, I like Purdue as a player, but I'm not certain on the job security with Tom Chester in the 14 jersey. But I do like Purdue as a player. It's not the easiest matchup against Penrith, though, so I don't know if he'll pop off too much. Clifford, Townsend, yeah. And yeah, like you said, Jahu, Origin players and reserves. So McLean, Edwards, Taumalolo, Lukey, Finifuyaki, McIntyre. I think this might be the week where we could see some of these players get a rest from the Origin list. So Cotter here, for example. Do I think Cotter will be a late inclusion? I mean, it's a good period of time for backing up, right? So this is a Sunday game. Cotter plays on the Wednesday for Origin, so it's a 5-day turnaround. He just has to come back to Sydney from Melbourne. It's a pretty short flight. I think Cotter is most likely to play, but there's a chance that he gets a rest at some point. And if he has a big game in Origin, he might get a rest in this one. So yeah, decent chance there. Sam McIntyre's been playing good footy as well. So could be a shout. We'll have to wait and see for Origin on that one. Will Tungo keep dropping? He won't get much cheaper than this. He's pretty much at the minimum price. He might drop another 20K or something, but he's a guy who's at the minimum price right now. Robson, I doubt, given the neck issue and 80 minutes at hooker. Yeah, it depends if Connor Watson plays much hooker in Origin. But overall, I think Robson's pretty likely not to play, and Granville's on the bench as well. Could McKaylee get dropped if if Cotter backs up? Yeah, if Cotter backs up and if Robson backs up and a few of these other guys, McKaylee could easily get dropped. I think McKaylee's a sell, by the way. He doesn't play round 19. He's not a reliable scorer. Give him the flick. Make that move. Rest of the team here, I'm not targeting Lukey or Finafuyaki. The minutes are a bit dicey. They sort of normally share. Nana could come in as well, so I wouldn't be touching that. Overall, yeah, again, not super interested in the Cowboys. I think we really got to focus in now and focus on our end-of-season guns or cash-outs or guys who are super undervalued. That's sort of really all it is, like because we have so few trades right now. Roosters and the Tigers. Okay, this should be a good one because the Roosters have been in good form lately, and the Tigers are on the back of 2 wins in a row. Are we tipping the Tigers? Actually, who's everyone tipping? Drop it in the comments. Who's everyone tipping? Are you going Tigers or Roosters? Because I'm going to go through these team lists and try and talk myself into the Tigers. That's the play here. So for the Roosters, we got Teddy, Tupanua at center. Manu, Young, Kiri, and Walker is our backline. What are we thinking here? Look, if you've got Teddy, you've got Manu, all these guys, like Teddy's been pumping it, so that's fine. You could look at captaining him 100%. A few have asked about that. So I don't mind that move. For Manu, it's been frustrating, but I think you keep him and you just hope that he turns it around. For Dom Young, it was a wet game last week, so I wouldn't really judge him. He's not a wet weather player. He could easily cover up in this game. Kiri and Walker are not full-blown keepers in my mind, so I'd be looking to sell them, whereas the outside backs are a bit different. Let's have a look at some of these tips too. So what do we got? We've got Tigers, a believer, Chooks, Roosters, 20+. Roosters, Chooks, Roosters. Magpies, yes. Love them being called by their proper name. Roosters. Tigers, easy. Big call. Roosters, Young with 3 tries, bit of wishful thinking. Is Connor Watson better at lock or hooker? And I'm alone on the Tigers. So let's answer this one. Connor Watson at lock or hooker, it doesn't really impact him too much. I think he's better at lock, but he'll play some hooker from that role as well. So my prediction would be that he's playing Origin, actually. So my prediction would be he plays about 50 minutes, and I think about 15 of those are at hooker. Maybe 20 of those are at hooker. But overall, I think he plays mostly lock with that time. Also, the bench, no one on the bench who's going to steal those hooker minutes either. So, good shout. For the rest of this team, look, we've got I don't know, we're going to target any of these guys. They're not playing round 19. I'm not super keen. Brandon Smith has theoretical value. He played a pretty good game last week. We'll see how it plays out with Connor Watson this week, but I think they want to get out of Brandon Smith's contract is what I'm hearing. So I think it's too late for a guy like that. If Brandon Smith played round 19, I'd think about it, but overall, probably not. For the rest of the team here, too early to be targeting Gus Crichton right now. He's getting cheaper, so I would let him get cheap and have a look at him for round 20. Radley, no. Connor Watson, I wouldn't target him right now, backing up from Origin. Rest of the bench, not that keen. Don't go by Terrell May. I don't think that's a good option either. Then we got Buller, Fairtape, Naden, Dewey, Laliti, Galvin, and Caesar. Also, let me know how to pronounce that so I can get it right. But he played well last week, actually. So for the Tigers here, let's have a look at this. So obviously, I guess the question is probably going to be, oh my God, I'm sorry, Adam Dwayhe. So for Adam Dwayhe, would we be buying Adam right now? No, don't do it. The intercept try last week, there's too much in it. If he's available in a draft league for you, then great. He'll get a dual position as well in a few weeks' time too. So I don't mind that in draft, but overall, he's far too expensive at center. If he moves to the halves, he's a great option, but he's not going to move to the halves, is basically my point here. For the rest of the back line here, Fairtape, Bull. I'm not super keen on any of these guys in the back line. If you've got Galvin and you held on to Galvin, great. Awesome. He was on fire in that last game. Caesar is a plotter for fantasy as well. Forward pack here. Stefano, Tokamanu, Coruscant, Pole. Then the back row is Porter, Fainu, and Matamua. Let's talk about some of these guys. So Tokamanu, pretty quiet game for him last game. He scored the try, but he only got 52 points, which is not ideal. I thought he'd get a bit more in the base, but he saved it with that try. Coruscant. Would I target Coruscant as an option? Ooh, Coruscant's probably the one that you look at, actually. If you need a hooker for round 19, Coruscant's still pretty cheap. He played amazing last week. He played really good last week. So, yeah, I don't mind Coruscant at all, especially if the Tigers get some of these forwards back too. The Roosters is not a great matchup for him, though. My pick is he'll probably score. If I was predicting his score, I'd say 39 this week. It'll have some nice attacking plays, but a lot of missed tackles is my prediction. But I think Coruscant still, even with that, is pretty good value, and he plays around 19 as well. Samuel Afinu is a guy who he started off pretty clunky. He had the HIA and a few things. Even last week, he played a great game, but he had a few try assists that went to ground or got called back on the bunker, or Dwayne didn't get it down. But for Fino, I think he's a guy who I think we're underestimating the scores he can produce, and I think he could be a 45 average from here on out. So I don't mind the idea of potentially keeping Fino as an end of bench guy down the stretch, right? So yeah, Fino's good. Would I target him for a buy? He's probably a little undervalued, but I don't know if I'd prioritize it personally as a coach. Bench here, we got Mason, Fino, Seyfarth, and Clemmer. If you got Seyfarth, keep Seyfarth. You got Sinbin last week, so it was a bit dodgy. Let's have a look here too, actually. Okay, so John Bateman on the extended bench. Olam's dealing with a knee issue as well. He'll probably come in at some point, but for Naden instead of Dwayne. So, yeah, Bateman comes in. He's a threat to Ruben Porter, basically, is my answer there, Matt. So, yeah, I think Bateman could come in for Ruben Porter. He come in at lock as well for Matamua. Who knows, right, with Bateman? But either of those guys are going to go. I think Samuel Afinu is guaranteed a starting spot in this team. They'll move one of Papali'i or Bateman into the lock spot. They might also play Papali'i as like a prop. Like he's going next year anyway. So they're going to prioritize Samuel Afinu is my answer there. Selling Twal this week is a tough one to swallow. It's a really tough one. There was no clarity on that injury, and he just keeps staying out. So, yeah, I don't mind that idea at all of selling Twal. The upside isn't amazing when he gets back either. So, yeah, you can sell Twal. But overall, yeah, Coruscant, decent one to target. Samuel Afinu, he's a good hold. Overall, though, I wouldn't target too many of these other guys as well. And that is team list done and dusted. So, let me know if you guys have any questions for your team in particular, any trades you're thinking of, any players that are left field, any pods, all that sort of thing as well. I'll give you some ratings on some trades and some pods too. So let's have a look at that now. So for those to come through. All right, let's see. What do we got? Is Cookie a target in the near future, Longy? Cookie's hard. So he's really good at hooker. But if you missed out on the score last week, I feel like it's kind of chasing points. The one thing I worry about here too is you've got a perfect storm for his minutes reducing down the stretch. So South Sydney are pretty low on the ladder. You've got Mamazelis sitting on the bench. You've got the fact that Cook signed with the Dragons for next year. If they lose some games and they fall out of contention for the finals, then Cook will be the first guy to lose minutes to Mamazelis. So I reckon there's a lot of risk there. So basically the question you're asking here, because Cook's a gun individually. Question you're asking here is, do South Sydney make the finals, right? Or do they keep in the finals race for long enough to be relevant for you? Let's have a look at the ladder. So for South Sydney, they've got 5 wins right now. 14 points. 8th place has 18 points. There's a lot of teams on 18. Yeah, it could happen. Let's have a look at the fixtures, because if they win games, then he might be better. So the Eels this week, which is super winnable. Parramatta are hurting my feelings every week. Then Dolphins, Tigers, Raiders, Sharks, and then Storm. Tigers again. Yeah. Okay. That's a pretty favorable draw. I reckon the risk is worth the reward. If you want Damien Cook, go get Damien Cook. South Sydney should stay solid. I reckon that run of fixtures, they'll win enough games to stay in the finals contention. And he'll keep getting minutes, but just know that is the risk. All right, Luke, Jake, struggling to come up with my second player trade-in option. Thinking Henry and Hopgood out. I like that. And bringing in Hines. Need suggestions. How much money do you have for that second player? Because I can't really tell from that question. But yeah, let me know the amount there and we can have a look at that. Blaze to Sharp. Bit sideways. I wouldn't do that. Blaze is solid enough and he plays around 19 already. Geography Greg is back. I love you too, mate. Love you too. Every week, like clockwork. Z regards. Which wing fullback would you target this week? Which wing fullback would I target? Let's see. I'm super zoomed in for another video, by the way. So, who we got? Filters, wing fullback. Sort by price. Let's see. Edwards is there. Tedesco's around. Lomax plays Origin. Kraz, Drinkwater, Manu. I'm probably trying to get a guy who plays round 19. Yeah, KOX is pretty expensive. None of these are really shouting out at me, if I'm going to be honest with you. I'd probably go for Sharp, to be honest. Probably go for Sharp. Otherwise, you're probably going to be targeting one of the guys who is on a bye this week. Yeah, so I'd go for Sharp. I think for round 19, if you've got guys like Kohler as well, you just hold on and just you get their score in round 19, basically. Kohler's not going to drop too much cash now. He's got a pretty decent score added to his averages there, so I think it'd be sweet. All right, Brayley to Nakora. Yep, like that trade. That's cool. Go to Geography Greg. Exactly. I've got Brayley and KPP. A lot of halves. To grab Hines, would you trade some of the following? Hughes, Weeks, or Galvin? Definitely not selling any of them. Or sell Brayley and KPP. I'd be selling Brayley and KPP and just copying it. That's my advice there. Harris Tavita, a good cash out. He'll get minutes. Like, he'll definitely get minutes. Harris Tavita. What's he priced at? So, let's see. Chanel Harris Tavita, 261K. He will get minutes, but he's just a disastrous fantasy scorer. That's the problem. So probably not. They don't play round 19. I wouldn't do it. Where are the trades left, gang? At the last trade. Oh, one trade left. Good luck this week. If you have 17, I wouldn't use that trade this week. Is my advice. Thoughts on a wing fullback for round 19? So yeah, I'd be targeting Sharp, trying to just hold on to Kohler if you have him. Overall, though, yeah, Walsh. So Walsh won't play round 19. He'll play Origin. Asako or Lomax are the two options you're looking at there. Lomax play Origin as well, so he won't play either. Origin players don't play round 19. So really, Asako from your list is the only one that you could look at. Otherwise, I wouldn't rush it. I think Sharp is probably the option there for you. Captain options. Who are we all going as captain? Actually, drop your captains in. I'll go through those at the end. But everyone, let me know who you're captaining this week, assuming you've made your trades as well. Sharp, still worth buying with Pong coming back in round 20. It's a 3-week window for him, and then he's out. But it's a pretty good run of fixtures for Sharp, and you got him for round 19, and he's close enough to a cash out that I don't mind it. So I think Sharp, if it makes sense for your team, do it, but don't break your team to go and make that trade is my advice there. Will Kohler keep his spot when Turbo's back? Thinking of bringing Tungo in this week. Just can't fill the team. Okay, so you need to make some trades if you can't fill the team this week. I think Kohler keeps his spot. My view is Turbo goes back to fullback. They did some study on center or fullback and whether that impacts the amount of meters these guys are running and all that sort of thing. It doesn't have a massive impact is what they found. So I reckon he comes back at fullback. I think Kohler keeps his spot in the team. Good, cheap, mid or edge. Howarth is risky. He's kind of fun. We'll go to that and buy, hold, sell. So we'll have a look at the cash cows and buy, hold, sell. That goes up at 7 a.m. tomorrow, guys. McKaylee and Kotrick, Deadwood in a team. Should I downgrade both of them this week? Yeah, 100%. Sell both those guys. That's an easy move. KPP to Eisenhuth. You could do it. You could do it. I'm not inspired by it. It's okay. Mid-range edge. Who should I buy? Let's have a look at that and buy, hold, sell as well. So I'll go through that in more depth. But if you guys have options, throw them up and I'll have a look at them too. Sell Latrell for Hines. You could. If you're desperate for numbers this week, I don't hate it. But Latrell's looking like a keeper. That's the problem, right? So I'd probably try not to do it. Although you missed Latrell this week and round 19. Maybe you could do it. Yeah, I'm going to give this a tick of approval, but I'm not super stoked on it. So if you have other options you could look at instead, you can do those too. Bring back Origin Fantasy. Yeah, we did an Origin Fantasy. That'd be fun. Love that. Is Cartwright's spot safe for the next month or so, would you say? Interesting buy. He's a very interesting pod. Anyone who says they can predict Bryce Cartwright is wrong, and they're lying. But yeah, his spot's pretty safe, I'd say. He's safer than Sean Lane. So Kelma Tuolangi's out for like 4 weeks as well. So overall, yeah, I would say he's pretty safe. If you want to take that gamble, go ahead. Eels have a better chance of making the finals than Souths. Fair play, then don't buy Damien Cook is the answer there. Need a round 19 web wing fullback, I'm guessing, option. Who to get? Yeah, probably just Sharp. The other options are all really loopy, man. Like, I'm just trying to hold on to guys like Sharp and I've got Iro at center. Who else we got? Kohler can slide in there too, but it's pretty dicey. Is Troy Martin a buy? Yes, he's good value. Doesn't play round 19, but if you need the half, he's at a good price for what he's been doing. So yeah, I don't mind that at all. Not sure who to captain this week. Galvin Weeks, Drinky, Stefano, Herbie, or Dom Young. Stefano's not a bad shout, even though he's pretty dodgy last week. Outside of that, Galvin next to Caesar is really good, but the Roosters is not a great matchup. But I do love Galvin scoring next to Caesar. So actually, I'll show you. I actually haven't checked this, but I've got a suspicion that Galvin scores better next to Caesar than he does in any other configuration. So if we just go 60 plus minutes here, and we're looking at Galvin's average. So overall, he's a 51 average. If we throw Caesar into the mix, okay, 50 average with Caesar, 53 without. So it's about the same. What am I looking at then? Maybe it's the Tigers. Are they winning more with Galvin next to Caesar? It might be that. I don't know. I just think they're a really balanced halves pairing. So I like them. I don't mind Galvin as a captain option this week. It's a little risky, but it's a good option. Captain Watson, pending minutes. It's risky backing up from Origin, captaining one of those players because they can just play no minutes. Like, it's a possibility, so I wouldn't do it. How does Buller score with Adam back at center? Have stats from last year. I don't think it really impacts Buller's scoring, to be honest. So we got Buller. Buller's average is 37. When Buller plays 60 plus minutes, the average is still 37. He never gets hurt. Adam Dway, he comes in. So with Adam, 43 points. Yeah, look, it's only one game. So I'm not inspired by it. So 43 points in that game. They destroyed the Raiders. He had a try saver. No, I'm not super keen on it. If you're going to do that, if you're going to make that move with Buller, it would have been a while ago as well. What are the trades this week, if any? I'm looking at doing 2 trades. So I'm thinking I'm going to sell Atkinson. I held on to Atkinson just to keep my roster flexibility, and I had 13 players last week. So I'm probably going to sell Atkinson. I'm probably going to buy Sharp, is what I'm thinking right now, just for that round 19 wing fullback and some cash generation. And then I'm looking at doing something like DeBellin or Carrigan or one of these guys out for Nico Hines and making Nico Hines my captain this week. That's a rough plan for me. Sean Johnson needs that hawk tush. Yeah, hawk girl. Maybe. Marzu. Yeah, I actually think Marzu's a pretty interesting pod right now. So if we go to the fixtures here and we just get the Knights actually have 3 games in a row that are pretty decent. So Marzu goes up against the Eels, the Eels, the Raiders, and the Sea Eagles. And then you've got Broncos back out from Origin. But Eels, Raiders, Sea Eagles is a pretty good 3-round stretch. I actually do like that pod. He's still undervalued if he bounces back. And then you have him when Ponga comes back as well. So you've got this 3 games of really good fixtures. Then you have Ponga coming back. Theoretically, it'll feed Marzu. Marzu's actually a guy under the radar that I'm looking at very closely this week. He might be the guy I pick for my captain route thing as well, actually. But yeah, no, I like Marzu. That's a pretty good story, actually, to weave, and he's at a pretty good price as well. So yeah, if you like Marzu and you want to take that gamble and you think Ponga comes back and lights it up, take a shot because there's every chance that he gets back to good form. Saying that, he's been pretty rubbish this year, so it's a risk. Hughes for DeBellin, but I'll have one trade left. I wouldn't be buying Hughes now. He's good when Munster's out. He doesn't play round 19. Munster's going to be back in like round 20. It's like 2 more games of great scores for Hughes and then back to being a 50 average. So I wouldn't be targeting Hughes now. Pappenhausen is a guy who can score 100 or 20 any week. If you want to hop on, you can hop on. Doesn't play round 19 though, so I'm not super keen. Best mid for round 19 to trade Twile to. They're so bad. I already have Plath and Finu. Who's good for round 19 for your mids? I mean, you should have listened to me last week. Last week I said Sipley and Nathan Brown, who got 55 each. So they would have been good, but you can't get them this week. I don't know. I'll have a look at that and buy wholesale as well. I can't think of someone off the top of my head. CHT or Howarth as best cash down. Okay, so you've got 2 options here. You either choose Harris Tavita, who is the guy who has great job security and is a terrible fantasy scorer, or you take Howarth, who is, I think, has the potential to be a really good fantasy scorer, but has 0 job security. So he'd have to play out of his mind this week to keep that spot. That's your call. Both have merit. Neither play round 19. So there's no objectively correct answer. It's up to you whether you want to take the risk. Praying for a cash out for Kohler soon. Kohler's going to be fine for round 19. You watch. Kohler will come in clutch in round 19. I'm calling it right now. Thoughts on Will Price, Longy? 400K. Not a lot of job security. I like the idea of it. I need to see one game. And as Jahu mentioned as well, it's pretty average defensive stats in reserve grade. I need to see him looking good in first grade, like he's going to hold the spot before I made this move. And he could be an option next week, 100%. Sharp to take Mazu's spot when Ponga's back. I think it's unlikely, but it could happen. It's just that I think they want to keep Mazu in the team. They need those meters, right? And they don't want Ponga taking the full load of all those hit-ups. And Sharp is not really the guy to take that load the way Mazu does. So, yeah, I don't think it's likely. That's my answer there. Hines is captain. Yep, here we go. Captain section. So, yes, hot. Hughes is a great captain this week. Farmworth is balls of steel kind of stuff. I love that you're backing him after a slower week. Teddy against Tigers could be big. Yep, 100% against his old club as well. Hughes, great shout. Watson or Tarpanay. Ooh, probably got to lean. Oh, Watson has such big upside. Just keep an eye on Origin is my advice there. Hughes, great shout. Nico, Moses after Origin. I reckon that might be a tough one to put the captain on, but don't let me talk you out of it. Watson, yeah, after Origin, yeah. Watson on Moses, again, after Origin is a bit tough. Tapane and Aitken. Aitken's been rock solid, actually, as well. Hughes, Wishy. Man, if you go Wisher, that's some mad dog stuff. No one captaining Talau. Like, come on, guys. Good cheapy mids under 430K. We'll go through that later, but a few of the Manly guys is who I'd think of there. Teddy. Yeah, like that. Longy, you should talk to Fantasy about us being able to put our C and VC on bench. So if they don't play, it's not a specific position to replace them. Yeah, I'll talk to them in the off season. So towards the end of the year, actually, stay tuned. We'll have maybe a video. We'll go live or something like that. We can go through the Fantasy app, and I can take feedback from you guys back to the Fantasy guys, so the developers who make the app, and we can see if we can get some features added or things change or that sort of thing as well. So yeah, let's do that later in the year, but I'll keep that in mind as well. Call it a price or wait. I would wait at least 1 week on that. McKaylee to Price. Look, if you like Price, go get Price. I think he's a wait a week option, but McKaylee's a sell, so I don't mind that at all. Cotter to Hines, bite the bullet. Yeah, there are probably better trades you could make, but that's a good one. Thoughts on the Tigers, cheap mids, Porter and Sione? No. So Clemmer's on the bench, Bateman's on the extended bench, Papali'i back soon. These guys are all going to fade now. It's too late. Sell Grant to Hines. No, I'm keeping Grant 100% if I had him right now. He in round 20 is a great option to buy. Mazu, thinking as a pod, only has 2 tries this year. Got Eels, Raiders, Manly. Yeah, exactly what we were talking about there. So, yeah, I don't mind that. It's risky, but it has big upside. I'm going to hit a few more questions here, then finish up. So, Trent coming in with Sam Hughes to Jezewski cash out. Man, you are so keen on Jezewski. Look, if you want to do it, do it. But there's a lot of risk in it. First things first, Ricky's out for 2 weeks. So, you get 2 weeks of Jezewski scores. And then round 19, when you actually need him, he'll be on the bench and he'll score like 15 points. He might play some middle to cover the fact that their origin players are out, but almost certainly won't. So I don't love it, but I don't love any of the cash outs this week. So you could do worse than this. It's up to if it fits your team, do it. He'll have 2 weeks of good scores. I'd love to just sit down and have a yarn to the developers of the app. Yeah, we'll get all that out. We'll get all that out. I'll take it all to them because a few things I'd love to change as well. No worries, Trent. All good, man. Then Tavita, is KPP a sell now? If so, to who? He's a sell. It depends on your team completely. We'll do buy, hold, sell. So remember, guys, 7 a.m. on Wednesday, buy, hold, sell. It's a super deep video where we go through all the options. Last week we did it position by position. This week we'll probably go more towards categories. Chance to Sharp and King to Hines. It's pretty good. They're pretty good trades. Gets you more players for round 19 and it upgrades you to a top keeper and captain option. I'm going to say yes. Good trades. All right, a couple more now. What else we got? What do we got? Yes, agree with Nico. Don't forget. This is so hard. These questions are really tough. Who to trade out this week from Garrick, Kohler, Fafita, Whiten, and Kalomatangi? I mean, it's got to be Garrick, right? It's not a Garrick, sorry, Kohler. Kohler. Got to be Kohler. I think Garrick is a pseudo keeper. He's back next week anyway. Kohler misses this week and he's not that keeper option. Fafita is a dead set keeper. Whiten is a guy who I don't mind keeping on the end of my bench for the rest of the year. So I'd be holding on to him as well. And then Kalomatangi is in great form. You might as well stick with him. He scored like 68 points last week. So I'd hold on to him as well. All right, I'll do 2 more. Who we got? Yep, guys, get on Discord as well. That's the spot to be. If you know what, while you guys are waiting for your questions, I'm just going to open it up, show you. So Discord, this is what it looks like. Casual athlete. Oh my God, there's so many messages right now. But yeah, trade talk section is where we all talk different trade options. Everyone sort of sends those trade screenshots and, talk about all the players that you can have a look at here. Everyone's colored for Origin as well. Where the game threads are. So if you go into the game threads, just in game day chat, further down here. Here's the Sunday footy, for example, right? So just heaps of chat during the games. I think, what was it? On Sunday, it was, over 1,000 messages. On Saturday, like nearly 3,000 messages, right? So it absolutely pumps on game days. Then injury chat as well. So heaps of injury updates. So if you want to stay up to date with injuries, this channel is actually awesome for it. I sometimes get news from this channel from you guys. So I'm giving full credit there. And then there's sort of some more general chat. There's team rating channel. So if you put your team into this channel, people are going to rate you out of 10. Or they're going to call it a gun team, whatever it is. I think they should rate you out of 10. That's my advice. And then we've got sections for top coaches as well. So here's Pimp My Team, for example. If you want to be in Pimp My Team tomorrow as well, jump on Discord and you've got to upgrade to get into that. It's in the Pimp My Team submissions. So if you're not sure, just ask me or ask Jahu and we'll tell you how to do that. But this is where all those teams get submitted for Pimp My Team when you see that later as well. All right, a couple more questions here. What do we got? Let's see. So yeah, jump on Discord, guys. It is sick. And if I don't reply to you on Instagram, it's because I'm on Discord. Would you predict Sharp? Ooh, would I predict Sharp outscores Hands? Can't loop because they play against each other. Yeah, 100%. I reckon Sharp will outscore Hands. I think the fact that Matt Arthur's on the bench and the fact that Eels haven't been defending fullbacks well, especially speedy guys like Sharp, makes me think Sharp will outscore him 100%. But try and find a loophole somewhere else as well. And then let's see, any more good questions? What do we got? If I could add one thing to the game, what would it be? I would give myself only 3 captains each week, so I can double points now. I would probably go deeper rosters. So I think with the buys being added in particular, and a few other things, I would say deeper rosters. That's the thing I'm going to argue for. I'm going to sort of say I think we should go to 25-man squads, or even deeper than that, because I think that deeper roster gives you a bit more flexibility to make more risky moves. Who's winning Origin this week? Got to be the Blues. 100%. I'm actually going to be down at Swing City again. You would have seen that on Instagram, guys. The the golf driving range in Bella Vista. So I'm going to be down there for Origin, which should be good. Play a bit of golf. I need to work on my golf and watch the Blues get on the dub. 100%. Jahu on TV, mate, where you deserve to be. And then, all right, last question here, and then I'll get on Discord after that, guys. So, if you only had one trade left, do you keep it or YOLO for a cash cow? Okay, so I would think if I'm looking at my team, right, and I've got one trade left, you have a pretty long period of time that you need to survive on that trade. So my view on it is that if you use the trade now, you get a cash cow or something like that, and you're buying a player who they might average 35, right? If you next week have an injury of a top player and you need to sell them out, then that trade would have gotten you a top gun, right? As opposed to a risky cash cow. So my view on that is that it's too far out to waste that trade. I would save that trade for a top gun getting injured or something that will allow you to grab heaps of points, but I wouldn't just use it for the sake of it. So my answer there is hold that trade right now. And then I'll answer this too, actually. Hands getting dropped. Nah, he won't get dropped. Matt Arthur's really young. Like, he's playing the under 19 instead of Origin, right? So he will get smaller minutes. It might increase as he goes along, or he might pick up a niggle, but Brendan Hands will get bulk minutes, so you got to keep him down the stretch 100%. And then Jack Wallace, I will answer that in buy, hold, sell. We'll go through some options there. But there's definitely a few edge back roster options. All right, last one. Do you have any connections to the NRL besides fantasy? I'm a para member. Does that count? No, not really. I'm mainly fantasy connected. But look, if anyone knows anyone at clubs, I'm happy to do more things with that. So anyway, that is our live video for this week. Teamless Tuesday reactions. Hopefully it was good. We'll be doing buy, hold, sell 7 a.m. tomorrow. That comes up on YouTube. Pimp My Team comes through as well. Again, Discord is in the description as well. So get on Discord. That's the place where I like to hang out with all you guys. So easy. I think that's us wrapped. I'll post, you guys always say nice things and they always come through after I end it. So I'm going to pop them up. So no worries, Tavita. You legend too. Cheers, Matt. Appreciate it, mate. Fader flip. No, you're primo. And no worries, Rob. I love it, mate. Mate, this is my reviewers. So the origin of this video was actually that I was just reviewing team lists anyway. And then I started making this video just to do my team list review on camera. And then it just sort of grew into something bigger. So it's super fun. And no worries, Lockie. Anyway, guys, good luck this week. See you on Buy, Hold, Sell. Peace out.